there, guys. We are doing our first virtual read aloud. So today we are going to be reading the next chapter of Out of My Mind. Can everyone say hey? If you are joining us on YouTube today, we have 4 wonderful scholars from my reading class and Miss Starkey, who is our newest 4th grade teacher. So we are going to do things a little differently today. Sometimes you're going to see us interacting, and then there's going to be times for you guys to interact with family or friends or whoever you're with at home. So the first thing I need you guys to do is pause this video and make sure you have something to write with and write on. Does everyone have something? Thank you. Autumn's got it. All right, now that you have unpaused the video, we're going to dive in. Obviously, it's been like 3 weeks since we've read Out of My Mind. So raise your hand if you saw Frozen 2. Raise your hand. You saw Frozen 2. Okay, if you haven't seen Frozen 2, there's a 1-minute clip in the middle of the movie where Olaf does the speediest review of Frozen 1. And he's bouncing all over the place, and he's telling you the biggest parts. And so that's what we're going to do really quick. Okay, my friends right here, they're all on mute. So if they unmute, it's because they're going to help Miss Greene with some of the pieces that maybe I forgot when doing our book review. So I'm going to quickly bounce over to the PowerPoint, and we'll see you guys in a second. All right, welcome to Virtual Read Aloud with Miss Greene. Let's do one slide. Oh, one too far. All right, it's been a minute, so let's do a recap. We are working with a scholar named Melody. She is an 11-year-old with cerebral palsy. For example, here in the picture, she is in a wheelchair, and that is her biggest disability is her inability to use her words for speaking as well as her body for movement. She has not been able to speak a single word, but has a photographic memory for everything around her. And so we found out really fast that words meant absolutely everything to her. In chapter 3, we see Mom stand up to Dr. Hugely because he tells her that they should move her away and just forget that they had her as a daughter. It would be easier to not have her. Then we have her little sister, Penny, is born. She finds herself jealous of a little baby sibling because her sibling's able to do things that she'll probably, what the doctor says, never be able to do. Then Melody lets the reader in on her learning community in room H5 at Spalding Street Elementary. It's a room where she is very similar in many ways physically to her scholars around her, but mentally she finds herself getting extremely bored. Raise your hand. I'm coming back to you guys. Does anyone remember what bothers her most about room H5? Her teacher brings something in every year. Does anyone remember that? You can unmute yourself if you have the answer. Go ahead, Rain. Or let's see. How about you go, Virginia? Rain's still on mute. Virginia, what does she bring in?
That disgusting snowman that everyone, for some reason, seems to hate.
The disgusting snowman. Autumn, what were you going to say?
Sydney, the snowman.
Sydney the snowman. And she starts interacting with her classmates. She describes some of the things they do. Does anyone remember some of her classmates and what they do in class? No? You remember some of them are physically disabled, right? So they were throwing things at the snowman. Some of them struggled physically to be able to feed themselves or even go to the bathroom by themselves. Do we remember that now? A little bit? Okay, so if you guys can go back on mute and we'll jump back over to that PowerPoint. Okay, so we learned about Mrs. V, that's her neighbor, and she really helps Melody with her physical strength. If we remember, she falls out of her wheelchair and Miss V says, hey, you got it, you better figure it out on your own, right? And so different things like that. She also helps expand her talking board and gives her more words to put on there. If I can pause you really quick, whoever is highlighting my wonderful PowerPoint, if you could just pause that so we can focus. And we're going to continue. So after room H5, she goes to an inclusion program where she starts to study for what? Silent raise hand. What does she want to be a part of at her school?
The quiz thing.
What?
The quiz thing.
The quiz team. Does she qualify for the quiz team?
Yeah.
Yeah, and today we're going to read, this is why this is one of the biggest chapters, we're going to read her competition that decides if she's going to nationals or not. So this is the big chapter that we've been waiting for, this whole book, right? And the 5 of you get to join me as we figure out what's going on, okay? We're going to dive back one more time, and you guys are going to take a pause if you're watching at home to do a little writing prompt, and I'm just going to stare at the screen while the other scholars in the group also answer the question on their writing that they brought with them. All right, that's the next one. Okay, think about a time, oh, I have to move all you guys. Think about a time you had to work with a team. What made it difficult, and what parts of working together did you enjoy? I'm gonna set my timer for 1 minute, okay? And you guys can all respond to that. And if you're at home, you can just go ahead and pause the video to respond. 1 minute, you may go. I see Autumn's writing. Thank you, Rain and Virginia, all of you, great job. Got 40 more seconds. Which includes preservation, because he said a multivitamin alone may not be enough. And it's my vision. I'm a man. My Sunday drive. My grandson's beautiful face. Preservation A-2 contains the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression. It's how I see my life, because it's my vision. Preservation. All right, that is time. So, anyone who is here live with me, can anyone share out what their answer was or what they responded? Is that Rain with your hand in the air?
No.
Oh, nope. Michaela?
I didn't finish.
You didn't finish? Anyone? Has no one been on a team before?
A team.
Autumn, tell me about it.
I have. I've done a soccer team for the YMCA.
Yeah, and what did you like about it?
That my friend was on the same team.
Mm-hmm. Was it easy to work with your friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, what made it easy?
You could die for the goal.
You could work together, maybe? Have you ever, or just give me a thumbs up, has anyone ever been on a team with someone that they didn't always get along with? Michaela?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Autumn, think about maybe when you're working in class, that could be group projects, could be the team also, not just sports teams, right? Okay, a little more relatable there. Okay, we're gonna go back. So if you are at home, we're gonna go back to the PowerPoint and keep going. Okay. Right here, you have your character inference chart, your wheel that we've practiced all year. Today, we're going to dive into character relationships and character feelings. You're going to see a lot of our characters interacting, and our big focus is going to be how Melody changes because of the relationships with her teammates. Okay, so everyone see this big old word here. It says oxymoron, okay? Oxymoron is a group of words that have opposite meaning. And today, this is actually going to be one of the words that comes up in her quiz challenge. So the word oxymoron, she's going to be asked if she knows what that is. And it's very similar if you guys have ever heard of jumbo shrimp. A jumbo shrimp is naturally not very big. It's just the biggest of the shrimp, but it can still fit in your hand. You see some examples on the side also. Clearly confused. Normally, if I'm confused, what's going on in my brain is not very clear, right? So it's two words that are generally mean something opposite of each other, but they're not. They join together to create a story and image in your head. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, these are some little reminders before we dive into reading, okay? Participation. Everyone at home and in front of me has something to write with and write on. Listening ears and patient voices. So those of you logged on with me right now, we just got to make sure there's one voice at a time. That way it's not bouncing around, okay? take notes to look back on. Normally you guys have your books in front of you, and so when you answer with evidence at the end of the day, you're able to say, you know what, let me look back on page 200. Today you don't have that. So you can take notes at any time if it's aligning to your thinking job today, okay? If you aren't participating live, you can pause the video at any time to answer questions and just listen again. Okay, your main thinking job today is, what does Melody learn about herself and how has she changed because of the competition? Okay, one more time. What does Melody learn about herself and how has she changed because of the competition? All right, I'm going to shift over and we are going to take a 30-second human break because my battery is dying, okay? So everyone at home, you can pause your YouTube video. Everyone in front of me, go ahead and take a big deep breath, and I'm going to be right back in 30 seconds. All right, I'm back. Hopefully someone timed me. I think that was 30 seconds. Who knows? Now I'm out of breath. All right, guys, we are going to get started. I'm going to read from my book. Everyone's got their waters. I'm really panting. And I'm going to screen share so that you guys can go ahead and follow along with me with the words. All right, everyone see it? Thumbs up? Got it. Oh, out of breath, that's not good. Okay, chapter 24. It's time. Cameras rolling. Someone calls out in 5, 4, 3, 2. He points at the man at center stage. Pick up Virginia. Try it again, Virginia. Wait, you're muted. Ah.
The moderator, a slim guy with hair that looks just like it is being glued into place. Sorry, I'm not reading that right because I can't see the whole thing. Brushes a speck off his tuxedo, adjusts his red striped tie, and begins speaking right on cue. Good evening, he says, with that perfectly modulated voice that announcers seem to be born with. My name is Charles Kingsley, and I'd like to welcome you to the Whiz Kids Southwest Ohio Regional Competition.
Cheers all around. In 2 weeks, the winner of this competition will travel to Washington, D.C. to represent our area at the National Championships. More cheers. We wish the best of luck to all our young competitors. The studio quiets. The rules are simple, Mr. Kingsley explains. Teams will be asked 25 questions. Each correct answer from each 4-member team is worth 1 point. So the maximum total team score is 100 points. He pauses so the cameras can show the scoreboard. Then he announces, the 2 teams with the highest score from all preliminary rounds will meet for what we call a quiz-off. So point totals are critical. The winner of that final set of quiz questions will be declared our local elementary school level champion and will proceed to the nationals in Washington. The team that emerges as the winner will appear live on national television on Good Morning America the next morning. Cheers and applause. Our first 2 teams to compete tonight will be Woodland Elementary and Spalding Street Elementary. Take your places, ladies and gentlemen. The 4 contestants from Woodland and the other 3 members of our team walk to the testing area, waving for the cameras. Catherine rolls me to my position, makes sure I can easily reach the buttons. Then she gives me a quick hug and walks away. I'd like to take a moment, Mr. Kingsley says, to introduce a very special participant in our competition tonight. Her name is Melody Brooks. The cameras all point in my direction. The studio lights are incredibly bright and hot. I blink rapidly. I feel damp and sweaty. Although the other contestants will stand, Melody will be seated as she answers the questions. We've made adjustments to our answer board so that she can access the buttons, but nothing else. I hear she's a fierce competitor. I try to wave, but I figure I look goofy and wobbly, so I put my hand down. Rose stands next to me, with Connor in the middle and Claire on the far end. I feel like I'm gonna throw up, I hear Claire whisper. Don't you dare, Connor hisses. We'll start with a practice round so you can familiarize yourself with our button system. Everyone ready? Which of the following is a mammal? A, cat. B, bird. C, turtle. D, spider. Everybody, including me, pushes A, of course. The screen in front of us lights up with the letter A. Don't you wish all the questions would be that easy? Mr. Kingsley asks, chuckling. Yeah, right. Remember 2 things, he reminds everyone. First, this is a team competition. And second, this is not a test of speed, but of accuracy. Teams get more points if all 4 contestants come with the correct answer. And the 2 teams with the most points meet for the finals. Are we ready? Ready, the 7 contestants on stage answer. I start to hit the word ready on my board, but I decide to concentrate on the contest instead. Round 1 will have 25 questions. Let us begin. Number 1. I tense. Here we go. The average lifespan of an adult mayfly can range from 1 minute to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 day, 1 week to 1 day to 1 week, 2 weeks to 1 month. Bing, 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 bing. Everyone hits their buttons. Once the answers are locked in, the readouts are displayed. Everyone on our team answered B. 1 person on the Woodland team answered A. Mr. Kingsley smiles and says, Woodland has 3 points and Spalding now has 4 with all correct responses. We can do this. I can do this. Bring on the next one. So if you're at home right now, I want you to pause the video after I give you this question. And if you're here live, I want you to answer the question on your paper. Are you ready? What do you know about Melody's confidence before the competition? Okay, I'll say it again. Write down. What do you know about Melody's confidence in herself before today's competition? Take about 20 more seconds. Everyone's writing. And this is going to help you guys when you're thinking about how she's changed. Right now, she just said, I can do this. We can do this. So think about how much she's changed from before. And I'm going to switch back so we can go back to reading. All right, number 2, he intones. The Battle of Lexington and Concord in the American Revolution War were fought in what? What year? A, 1774, B, 1775, C, 1776, or D, 1777? That one's a little tricky. I press B. However, so does everyone else. The score is now 7-8. Now, if you guys remember this author's craft, when you were reading your physical books, this was an internal dialogue for Melody. So it's actually slanted and the author used italics. And I'll show you that right now. So in your physical books, it was slanted so that you guys knew she wasn't saying that out loud. That was just what was going on in her head, okay? Mr. Kingsley continues. In literature, the word oxymoron means which of the following? A, a combination of contradictory words. B, the outcome of a sequence of events. C, an implied reference to a literary or historical event. Or D, a symbolic story or narrative. I'm fairly sure the answer is A, but the word could mean big-headed crippled kid who thinks she can win in a national quiz competition. When the answer is shown on the screen, Connor got it wrong, and so did 2 members of the Woodland team. So the score is now set at Woodland 9, Spalding 11. We're still up, but we have 22 more questions to go. The next question, Mr. Kingsley says, deals with math. Oh crap, I'm dead meat. There are 2,357 paintings in an art museum. The museum has 124 rooms. Which is the reasonable estimate for the number of paintings in each room? Now, if you're at home, you can pause and have a little moment of math for the day, or if you're here live, we're just going to keep reading. A, 10, B, 20, C, 60, or D, 200. Yep, dead. Rotten meat. Let's see. I've got to visualize a museum and rooms and lovely paintings. How many in a room? Not sure. Divide what into what? Not sure. I'm going to say 60. When the answer flashes as B, I feel like an idiot. But Rose got it wrong too, and so did 2 kids on the Woodland team. The score stands at 13-11. By the time we get to the 25th question, I'm sweaty and thirsty, but I'm pumped. The lead bounced back and forth between the 2 teams and a couple of times. Sometimes they were in front of us. Sometimes we forged ahead with points. I got most of the language arts answers right, but the math questions stumped me. Connor can't spell, so he misses several of those questions. Rose is weak in history. Claire has trouble with science. The Woodland team was about the same. Some kids good in some areas, others good in others. So I'm going to bring it back to our group. And if you're at home, you can pause after this question. Here's your next question of what you're going to write down. What is Melody currently learning about working in a team? I'm going to read you that last line again, but I want you to think about what is she currently learning about working in a team? She says, some kids good in some areas, others good in others. Why is working in a team important, and what did she learn? See, everyone who's here with me is currently writing down their answers. And at the end of this lesson, you'll get my email if you don't have it already, and you guys can send me a picture of your work and everything you've done today. Okay, about 5 more seconds because it looks like we got 2 more writers. We'll dive right back in. All right. Actually, bring it back. What am I doing, Miss Greene? Does anyone have anything to share? What did she just learn about working with in a team? I see, Virginia, your volume's already on. So do you want to go ahead and answer first?
Oh, I guess I didn't mute myself. I wrote that Melody is learning that not everyone is good in all subjects, and it's important to be on a team because if it was just her, then she would probably
Be difficult. Exactly. That was a great answer. Autumn, earlier you mentioned about being on a soccer team. Do you experience different strengths and weaknesses from players on your team? You're all exactly the same on the soccer field?
Oh, no, that was like 2 years ago.
Oh, well, what did you write about Melody then?
Different strengths.
Different strengths are important, yes. Okay, we are going to dive. That was great. The point of that was to consider Melody's learning that her strengths are different than other people's and her weaknesses are also, but that's what making working as a team so awesome. So we're going to go back to our read aloud and keep going. All right. We now come to the final question for our first 2 teams. Mr. Kingsley announces. He clears his throat and begins. A weather event that measured 6.5 on the Richter scale would be a or an tornado, hurricane, earthquake, or tsunami. Bing, 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 bing. I punch C and relax. I did not have a tornado spaz. Connor, Rose, and Claire all got the final question correct as well. 2 people on the Woodland team answered hurricane instead. When the results are tallied, our team has a total of 81 points. Woodland ends up with 77. Congratulations, Spalding, Mr. Kingsley says with a polished smile. The 2 highest scoring teams will meet for the final round later tonight. Good luck, and we hope to see you again. Victory for round 1. As the show breaks for commercial, we are all escorted to a special waiting room in the back. The students from Woodland look really disappointed. That's it for them for the whole competition. All they can do now is watch as the second 2 teams head to the stage for their session under the lights. Mom, Dad, Penny, Mrs. V, and Catherine are all waiting for me in the back room, hugging me and kissing me like I've won the lottery or something. Catherine does a little happy dance. Dad tells me he's filmed the whole thing on his camcorder. You rocked, Melody, Mrs. V shouts. I'm so proud of you, sweetie, my mom says. Can I have a Coke? I type as quickly as I can. I feel breathless. Everybody laughs as Catherine rushes to find me paper cup for the sodas that are sitting on ice in the waiting room for the contestants. Mom pours dribbles of the ice-cold Coke into my mouth, 1 sip at a time, making sure I don't spill on my shirt. I'm so thirsty, I don't even care what people from the other teams are staring at me. Mr. Dimming, after talking to Rose and Connor and Claire, bounds over to us, beaming. This is such a thrill, Melody. You're amazing out there. I'm so proud of the team and extremely proud of you. I'm going to pause this again. Okay, this is your last question before the end. I want you guys to sit and reflect and write. So pause if you're at home or right here. What has changed in Melody's life that she's getting this attention? Okay? What has changed for Melody that she's getting this positive attention that she hasn't received before? Give you about 10 more seconds as I see my friends here lifting up their pencils. All right, I'm going to let you guys come back to that at the end because that's going to be in your race to respond answer. So I'm going to keep reading and I'll share the screen again. All right. Thanks, I tap. What's next? We wait for the next teams to compete. Then we'll meet and beat the other high-scoring team and pack our bags for Washington. Don't pack yet, I type with a grin on my face. I've been packed for 10 years, he tells me. I've just been waiting for the right team. This is our year. I just know it. He wanders off to talk to other parents. I never thought about what teachers dream about. I had no idea what a big deal this was for him. Rose comes over and squats down next to Penny. I like your hat, she tells Penny, who's holding Doodle closely and wearing a blue polka-dotted hat with a red feather. Whoa-zee, Penny says gleefully. How's my favorite baby girl? Rose says in her whispery voice. Oh, let me, Miss Greene's going to go back and read that line again because the author tells us how to read that line. Whoa-zee, Penny says gleefully. How's my favorite baby girl? Rose says in her whispery voice. Whoa-zee, Penny repeats. You did really good, Melody, Rose says to me. You too, I type. You think we have a chance for the finals? Yup. In Washington? Yup. And being on Good Morning America? Oh, yeah. Claire stays on the other side of the room with her parents, but Connor ambles over and stands next to Rose. You're okay, Melody, he says. You beat me on a couple of those. You rock in math, I tell him. I know, he replies with a grin, but I still can't spell. I hope they don't have any spelling questions in the finals. I gotta go to the bathroom, Rose says suddenly. I'm so nervous about the finals. She hurries out. I know what she means. Butterflies, moths, giant bumblebees flutter inside me. When we were on camera, it felt like it took a million years to complete our round. But in just a few minutes, the second set of contestants come back to the waiting room. The school with the little crowns won round 2 with 79 points. Then, within another half hour, Edison Elementary clinches the third round with a score of 80. Finally, a school called Perry Valley wins the fourth round with 82 points, just one more than us. I watch them, Mrs. V tells me when they troop back into the room, excited and victorious. They're really good. Should we worry? I ask. Oh, uh-oh. Of course not. Our team is the best because they have a secret weapon. You. Suddenly, there's a rush of activity in the room as stagehands come back in to get us. Perry Valley, Spalding Street, we need you back on camera for the finals. You are our 2 top scoring schools. Congratulations! We hurry back to our places. The lights seem brighter this time. Mr. Kingsley returns to his position, gets his microphone adjusted by the stage crew, and shouts, "Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final round of our regional Whiz Kids competition. The final, wow. The winners of this round will represent us all in Washington, D.C. in just 2 weeks. All members of the winning team, along with their chaperones, will receive an all-expenses-paid trip to our nation's capital, 3 nights in a hotel, and tours of the city. Trophy, trophy, someone yells. Oh, the famous Whiz Kids Championship Award. The winning team in Washington gets to take home that huge golden trophy. They receive a guest appearance on Good Morning America, and their school will receive a check for $2,000 to be used for academic endeavors." Lots of whoops at that. Let us begin. Teams, are you ready? Ready, they all reply. I am ready too. And you've made it through your first chapter on a screen. I'm going to leave you guys with this. So if you're watching at home, I'm going to flip over to what I want you guys to write on your paper. So when you're done with that question, the next screen is going to show my email, and I want you guys to email me what you've written today, and then I can read it and get back to you. Okay? So I'm going to flip over to that screen and give you your race to respond. Thanks for joining us today. Everyone say bye. And I will head over to that screen. What does Melody learn about herself? How has she changed? Challenge yourself to use evidence from the text. I'll read it one more time. What does Melody learn about herself? How has she changed? Challenge yourself to use evidence from the text.